Boxes of raisins are sold in supermarkets, right? And it says the number of raisins per box in each of 100 boxes was counted. The table below shows a summary of the results. Okay, so 100 boxes, they counted the raisins in each of them. So that means here this should add up to 100. Okay, there. It's always good to do that, right? Remember in the last question, that was called frequency, wasn't it? Right? And frequency just means how frequent. It is how many we've got here. Okay, so we've got 8 boxes there, and 8 boxes whereby essentially there were that amount of raisins in there. So this is a group frequency table again. All right, group frequency table again, where the data is grouped. It makes sense, doesn't it? Because if you've got 100 boxes, right, and you literally write down the amount of raisins in each of them and present that, right, in a question, all right, or present that in a report, it's going to look messy. You're going to have 100 values, okay, and you won't know how to analyze it. So it's better to put it in a grouped frequency table as we've got here. So essentially, there were 8 boxes that had this amount of raisins in, roughly between these values. So what we do is we take an estimate, and remember the estimate is the midpoint, okay, the midpoint of these, and the midpoint here is going to be 124, I believe, okay. And you know, if you're not sure, as I said before, just double check 120 plus 128, add them, and then divide that answer by 2, and it gives you then the midpoint 124. So add them, divide by 2. The same then here, the midpoint there will be 133, midpoint there is 142, and the midpoint there is 151. By doing that, we're able then to estimate, okay, and it is only an estimate, the mean number. Okay, we're not guessing, we're estimating. Okay, we're estimating, there's a good estimate by taking the midpoint here. Okay, and you have to take the midpoint. Okay, so determining the mean then, remember, add them all up, divide by how many are there. Now we've got 8 boxes that have got that amount of raisins in, and we're estimating 124, aren't we? So 8 lots of 124, okay? And then we've got 26 boxes that have got roughly this. Okay, so you know we don't want to be adding 133 26 times, so we just do 26 times 133. So remember, from a mean table, we always times these values. Plus then 48 times 142, plus then 18 times 151. Okay, so I think I've done all that right there. Okay, so then we divide by how many are there. And remember, we've got 100 boxes. It's always this total down here. Okay, so on my calculator then, I'll do each step one at a time. So 8 times 124 is 992. 26 times 133 is 3,458. 48 times 142 on my calculator is 6816. 18 times 151 is 2718. Okay, and remember then we divide all of that by 100. Okay, so let's add the top numbers. Let's add the top numbers then. So 992 plus 3458 plus 6816 plus 2718. So top numbers come to 13984, and then divide by 100. Okay, so if you do that then, you get 139.84. Okay, that's how many raisins there are per box on average. Okay, now you might think, well, you can't have 139.84 raisins. Of course you can't. You've got to have a whole amount of raisins. However, right, the mean, okay, obviously is an average, and that roughly is the average, and it's okay to leave your answer like that. Okay, and I would leave it like that. I wouldn't round to the nearest whole, unless they ask you to, and they haven't here. So I would leave it like that, and it's sensible, isn't it? It's sensible. That value there is in this range, is around there somewhere, isn't it? And I'd expect it to be sort of at the higher end rather than at the lower end. 139.84 is around here. It's simply because, if you notice, there's a shed load of raisins in this, shed load of boxes rather, that have got the amount of raisins in this range. Okay, so I'd expect it to be quite high, the mean. Part B then, right, only 1 mark. Which is the modal group for the number of raisins per box? Now remember, modal, right, is another way of saying mode. Okay. Okay, but they often use the word modal when it talks about group frequencies. So the mode is the most common. Okay, and the key word here as well is the word group. Okay, so which group are we talking about? Which group or which class here is the most common? Well, which has got the highest value in? So you can see it's that one, isn't it? That one has got the highest value because there are 48 in there. So because they're asking you for the group, you need to literally copy down as you see that there, right? The group that has got the most in is 138, 146.